Okay, for this trek into DIY tech, we're gonna look at some updates that I made to the Tiny Tank. Because I'm sure you were, after the last video, thinking, what am I gonna do with this thing? This will be one of the. Oh, yeah. Apparently, we landed on a Hades class planet. So let me do this real quick. Before we get started, I also want to thank my mom. She's been watching the videos and she sent me this shirt. So, gracias ma, tengo la camisa puesta. Me quedó bien. Alright, let's get to the video. Alright, so I'm going to show you what the updates we did to the Tiny Tank are. So first, we took the treads. So they've got a little bit of a texture on them, but as you can see, it's not very deep. So first thing I did was you're gonna hear a little thunder here from this storm. I got on the CAD program and I recreated the treads. Now you see these are completely smooth. But what I did was I made it so that I can go in there and add things like these little tabs so that it can grip the ground. And so that helps it get along on rough terrain a little better. Also added a plate here on top. So this is a 3D printed plate similar to the one in our Zumo robot. And you can check out the video for the Zumo robot. I'll go ahead and put a link up here and one in the description so that you guys can go see the video for the Zumo robot. It uses the same Zumo base as the Tiny Tank. So we've also got a GoPro mount on there. And so it's screwed right into that adapter plate. And so you're going to see how that works, just like regular action camera mount. It's a little bit top heavy, so as it's rolling along, it tends to, if you go too fast or the incline is too much, it'll tip up and try to fall over. Or it will fall over, actually, if you're not too careful driving. So, but anyway, those are the updates that got made to it. If you guys want, we can add the STL files to project page. Yeah, so there is a project page. I'll put the link in the description as well, so you can check that out. And now we'll take a look at the updates that were made to the software, or the Arduino sketch that's running on the Arduino. Alright, so you can see that the controls have changed quite a bit since the last time. I'll just go over this real topically because we already showed how to do this in the last video. There's a link in the description, so you guys can check out the last video to see how to drag and drop these in here. But you see we've added frames here so that it's the controls are grouped together, or the controls and the displays are grouped together with the labels. So we have the battery label here, we have the display here that tells us it's just like a fuel gauge, and I just added the E and the F on top just to denote which side is which.
you know, anybody that has a driver's license probably knows how this goes, but those of you who don't drive, here you go. This is the fuel gauge, and this is I'll show you in the Arduino sketch how we're setting that up. And here we have a speed control. It's basically it's a virtual gearbox. So as you click on these, it switches from low to medium to high gear. So and it's a multiplier for how far you push these sliders for the speed for the left and the right track. And so yeah, these are just in different layers. So this is in the bottom layer, so the frames are in the bottom layer, the labels are in the next layer, and then the controls are on the top layer. And so if you right click on these, which is something that we didn't get into in the last video because we didn't add this much to it, you can push these forward and back. So if you move this forward, you can see it blocks everything out because now it's on top of all the other controls, just like layers. If you've ever worked, you know, with any kind of graphic software or anything like that, you have different layers. So you can push this back to the back, and there you have it. You know, get your source code and you copy and paste this. I've already done this for you. So if you go to the project page on the website, the advanced code for the Arduino board is on there, so you can download that directly from that link. And now we'll go to the Arduino code and I'll show you what we did there. So again, you see this has grown a bit from the last time. That's because we have a few more controls in there now. And we have the select speed, which is that 3-section gearbox control that we added in the middle. We've added battery level so that we can actually monitor how much battery usage we've got going on. And we've also got button. We haven't implemented that yet. We will continue to implement those, and you know, episode 3, I guess we'll have the push button in there. But we in order to use the new functions, we've added some additional variables. So these are the battery variables. We have battery level, battery calibration, and battery gauge. So we're gonna show you how those work in a second. And then we also have the gear multiplier. So now we come down here and we'll see that battery levels coming in on an analog channel 1 of your Arduino. And again, we won't get too far into it because the Arduino IDE is a whole thing unto itself. But I'm just going to show you what we did for this particular application for the tiny tank. And we also added some audio in this one, which is the buzzer from the Zumo board. So we are using the Zumo library to get some audio output on there. So as soon as you turn it on, you get some feedback from the Zumo telling you that it has turned on and the program is running. So if you go down here, you can see that I'm sorry, it was outside allergies. So here we have the gear function, right? So which is tied to we're pulling in remote XY, select speed, which is that the three button control. We're pulling that in and we're actually mapping it. And so in Arduino you can actually map values. So we're mapping this and we're taking the 2 to 0 that the control gives us and we're mapping it to 2 to 4. So when you have a 2 on there, it's a 2, and then when you have a 0, because it's A, B, and C, it's upside down from what we need, right? We're going from low to high going up, and so I actually inverted the output. So now in the previous program, we had 4 as a multiplier for your motors, and we had 4 here, and that would give you the highest speed that the motors would go to. It would multiply what you got back from the slider on your phone, multiply it by 4, and it would give you a range that was negative 400 to positive 400, which was the max speed that the motors could go. But here, by using this variable coming from your again remote XY on your phone, you get a value that's 2, 1, or 0. But now we're using the map function, and you can find this in your reference. If you go to help, or you right click on here, you can actually select find in reference, or you can go up to help directly and go to reference, and it'll actually open up a window where you can look at these functions. So data types, it has everything here that you would need to use, but for us, we're actually using the map function. So found here, and this will explain to you exactly how to use that. But all it does is it changes our ranges from 2 to 0 to 2 to 4, so that we can affect these sliders properly. And that changes your motor speeds in proportion to both the slider and the gear ratio that you have selected, or your digital virtual gear ratio. And here's where the battery comes in. So we're taking analog 1 from the Arduino board. We're doing a battery calibration on it, so we're just multiplying it by this number here, which we just took a multimeter and we figured out what the difference was, and we created this multiplier so that the battery would be at the correct level. And we want to go from 4.2 volts to 6 volts. So 4.2 volts, we don't want to drain the batteries any more than 4.2 volts, so we have 4.2 volts as the low side and 6 volts as the high side. So 6 volts is full battery, 4.2 is low battery, so it goes to E when it's 4.2. And we know that all the gauges and everything on our remote XY go from negative 100 to 100. So again, we're mapping this variable from 4.2 to 6 to give us negative 100 to 100, and that will display on your display on here. This is negative 100 and this is 100. The 0 is right in the middle. So that's all that's doing there. And there you go. In order to send this information back that you just put into this variable, so you just put all that information, adjusted information, into bat gauge, and here we send it back to your phone. So we just take this variable, remote XY class dot level underscore bat, and we just load bat gauge into it that we just calculated. And that's it. Easy as that.
Well, that's it for that. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope you get get a chance to try some of these projects. As always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. And hey, if you like this one and want us to keep creating more content, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one.